O'clock. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Morning, morning. Lovely, lovely to see you, Bev. And sorry, everyone, we're a few minutes late. This is totally down to me, being a technophobe, and actually, I overslept. So, but
Wonderful.
that's okay, I think, for a Sunday morning because we're here. So, thank you, Bev. Are you well? Keeping safe and well?
Thank you. Thank you. We're all good. And you guys are doing well in the UK with your vaccines. So
Yes,
that's good.
all is looking up, and I hope it is for everyone else also joining us live
Absolutely.
today or on the replay. I really hope things are
Absolutely.
looking brighter for us all. We all need some brightness and lightness, I think, in our lives, don't we, Bev?
Absolutely. So you, not you, sorry, the group had a very lovely question this week, didn't it?
Yes, we a little while back, Sam Cartilage posted a question on trust and why she can't trust others, and
Mm.
she really wanted to explore this a little bit deeper. And as we know, trust is fundamental in any relationship. And if we don't have that trust with ourselves or with others, really, we don't really have a relationship. And so Sam really wanted to explore this a little bit more as to why she just feels unable to fully trust someone else, who's let us down. So that's our question for today, and it was beautifully put, Sam. And I think so many of us, including myself, can really resonate with this. It's not uncommon at all. So that's our
Absolutely.
question.
So I think, and you and I explored it because I had a session around that feeling unsafe in a group that we explored together. We can maybe go back into that a little bit, but what comes up is that trust is really based on a much earlier time in our life when we learn about the world, our attachment with our parents. That's how we learn to trust the world. When children are curious, so they kind of walk off and get and explore, and then they get afraid and they come back to the parent. So fear is actually a an emotion of connection. As we grow older, it sometimes becomes an emotion of separation because our parents aren't always able to hold everything that comes up for us, and that comes out in our adult lives when we feel we're always testing. Where do we trust? Who do we trust? And we're always testing that in our adult world.
Yeah, absolutely, Bev. And thank you for, taking us back to those childhood years, because that's where trust starts. And some of you may have heard of codependency or the trauma bond, and there's lots and lots of different words for it. But if we grow up in an environment where we are unable to trust, we can't trust, or we see that our parents don't trust the world, or our caregivers
Mm.
don't trust the world, we learn these programs, we learn these patterns that the world is an untrustworthy, not a safe place. We actually feel those insecure feelings at a very young age, and what we can become is codependent, which means we actually form a bubble, if you like, for no better a word, with that person. So if your mother or your father, if you were not able to trust them because they let you down and they didn't give you what you needed, to fulfill your own needs, you will actually form a bubble with them in order to get what it is you need. So you come away from your authentic self and you create this new persona, and you become now dependent. And what I find as people grow through life and create many different relationships, they become very dependent upon those relationships, coming from a place of need. I need you to love me. I need you to praise me. I need you to approve of me. And as they sit in this bubble, you will be totally dissatisfied because you're not living a life that's yours. And then you hear these terms, you want to feel whole and complete. Well, you can never feel whole and complete whilst you're attached. And that attachment, Bev said, like Bev described, the fear the fear of actually being by yourself and trusting that you have everything that you need, that you are okay. Fear is pain. And so that's just another way of sharing with you that trust does start when we are very small. If we
Right.
if we are, if our parents particularly don't trust the world, and that can be the mother wound, the father wound, someone who's significant in your life. If you're unable to trust them, or if they are unable to trust the world, you will form this bond. And whenever you come from a place of need, what really happens is you get the opposite from that person. So if you need to be praised, you will get the opposite back of whatever it is you're needing, because you're coming from that place of lack. You're saying to yourself, I don't have this. And that comes generally from a place of fear. So we become very frightened, actually, of the world. We're very scared to make relationships. We're very scared to be by ourselves from that place of fear. So it's a big topic, Bev, but I was just trying to put
It
it in
is,
a
and
nutshell.
I really want to shine a torch, if you like, on what you said, is that it's not just about our relationship with our initial caregivers. It's their relationship also with their caregivers, and it goes back and back. That's handed down to us. So a client was talking to me this week about her parents were amazing. They were Holocaust survivors. And I brought something up about their fear. She said they never spoke about it in the house. I said, but you imbibed without words. We imbibe what's going on. She said, wow, I'd never thought about it because it was never spoken about. I said, so a lot of that feeling of insecurity doesn't have to be spoken about. But if your parents grew up in a place where soldiers were lining the street and they suddenly see a soldier in the street just having a coffee, they might tense quite naturally and holding your hand, right? It might have a harder squeeze on your hand. So I think that's such a crucial point, that these things also get passed down. So if that's the case, let's say, okay, I didn't have a secure attachment or a trusting attachment. What can I do about it today? Because it's really screwing up so many of my adult relationships, especially my intimate ones, let's say.
As it is though with Sam, and it really does come down to building that trust within yourself and reparenting yourself and having that understanding that you were not actually given what you needed as a small child, because those people around you, and as Bev shared there, you may not have heard any words, you don't have to, or even the behaviors. And it's much more so how somebody feels, because that's your deepest form of communication. So if there was a lot of feelings of being unsafe in your surroundings, feelings of being insecure and not being able to trust that everything's okay, as a child you will grow up with that. And as a parent, it is your responsibility, not your parents. So there is no blame at all. They have done the very best they could with the circumstances they were in and what they were given. And so it's up to us to form that trust. And we can start coming from a place of, where do you feel safe? And some people say, it's just sitting on my couch all cozy with the doors all shut, the curtains drawn. I feel really safe in the surrounding. And noticing that feeling. What does it feel like to be safe and secure? And as you go out into the world, notice when you don't feel safe and secure. And you can question yourself and go, well, is there anything out here to question that? It's a beautiful sunny day, or I'm meeting a new person, I'm forming a new relationship, whatever it is. Notice those feelings. They're probably coming from something in your past, and you can connect right back to the feelings sitting on your couch with the curtains drawn and feeling safe. Because the more that you teach your mind that you can feel safe and secure, the more that will expand. And the safer you feel within yourself, the more secure you feel within yourself, the more you're going to trust whatever, that you're going to be okay. And that's fundamental, I believe, before you start creating relationships with other people. So it's the trust within yourself to feel, safe and secure.
Right. I love how you brought up that feeling of just notice. Just notice when you meet someone how you feel without judging it. Just become curious about yourself. And I think that's where I would end with this conversation today. It's just to be compassionate, to be loving, to be kind towards ourselves in that reparenting, to give ourselves what we are so longing for and yearning for. And just
And
to notice it.
that judgment, thank you so much, Bev. That word, so, so key, judgment. We're always judging, aren't we? And as you said, beautifully put, just let it come up and notice it. And if you notice something, you can then choose to release it. And the more you do this, the more trust you will build inside. And so if we go back to Sam, who feels that, she has been let down a lot, and she is, feels she's unable to trust other people, maybe Sam, start to look at yourself and start to look at your past and start to notice if you can see patterns, if there are some programs going on inside of you that perhaps need healing, so that you allow these feelings to flow out of you instead of you keeping them trapped inside. And because we're all little balls of energy and we all need to flow. And thank you, Bev. Bev's brilliant with words.
And,
Really are. Brilliant.
and I just wanted to add one more thing for Sam and any of you who are struggling with this. It's so difficult to do this by ourselves.
Yeah.
Reach out to someone like Louise who will shine that torch or flashlight into the areas that you can't see. It's really tough to do this by ourselves, and it's so much more trusting and safe to do it together. So thanks for watching and being with us today. Thank you, Louise. I love our conversations.
Thank you, Bev. Fantastic as ever. And thank you for your patience with my technology this morning. Much
Why not?
appreciated. And we'd love any feedback as always. And reach out to Bev at any time. She's got a beautiful, warm, open heart. Please feel free to reach out to me. We're here. We're here to help and here to nurture you going forward. So thanks very much for joining us today, Bev. And thank you very much for everyone who is going to be watching the replay. And we'll see you same time, fingers crossed, next week.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.